Good morning, everybody. Wisconsin's 7th Congressional District Representative Tom Tiffany is our very special guest today, Thursday, May 8th, 2025. For DrydenWire.com, I'm Ben Dryden, and you're watching DrydenWire Live, presented by Americans for Prosperity Wisconsin. AFP Wisconsin works to reignite the American dream and break down government barriers that hold us back from our full potential. Visit afpwisconsin.com to learn more and to join AFP to fight for more freedom for all Wisconsinites. With that, we welcome back Wisconsin's 7th Congressional District Representative, who joins us every second Thursday of the month, Congressman Tom Tiffany. Tom, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Ben. Great to join you. It sounds like you've had terrific weather in the Northwoods here this week.
Been great. It's been great. When are you coming back?
Hopefully tonight. We're going to be voting. In fact, we're going to be voting right after we do this segment here, Ben, and then we're going to catch a jet plane.
Voting on what?
Let's see. Today we are voting on, let me double check this. I think I can tell you what it is. Let's just get this handy dandy device out. Oh, we're voting on the Gulf of America today.
I thought that was already a thing.
It is to officially rename the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. Yeah,
I thought that was already done, or wasn't it?
It's not officially done. Yeah.
Voting. How do you think it's going to pass?
I believe so.
Is a partisan vote?
I would guess so, probably.
By the way, where are you on that? Like all this other stuff, like, Ukraine and Medicaid and all that, bleh, who cares, right? Where are you on that bill that I suggested that you introduce for a word usage for politicians? You can't say your bill was passed with bipartisan support unless you have 10% of the other party who voted that way.
I've not introduced that bill yet.
Well, I'll just get on that.
I know it's the important.
Yeah.
I understand that's more important than Medicaid and Ukraine and stuff like that, but
Good. I'm glad you acknowledged that. Hey,
we have different priorities than you do. By the way, in regards to Ukraine, people have said that, President Trump, he's a puppet for Putin and stuff like that. If you listen to the administration, including Vice President J.D. Vance this week, they're like, you know what, President Putin, you are not living up to your end of the deal here. And so they're starting to take the side of Ukraine to a certain extent here, including signing the rare earth minerals agreement and stuff like that with Ukraine. So those people that claim, Trump, Putin, puppet, whatever, it's not so much that. It's far more nuanced than that.
Spooner House CEO Mike Schaefer says, "Good morning, Tom. Sorry I missed you out in D.C. Tuesday. What is he doing out in D.C.? But we did have a good visit with Evan. Who's Evan?
Evan is one of my staff. Ivan is his name.
Ivan. Oh, excuse me.
Ivan Padilla. And Ivan handles the healthcare side as well as some other stuff, and that's who Mike met with. I'm glad Mike and others were able to come in the office. Now, I'm guessing Tuesday we were having an all-day vote. We call it a markup in committee, but we did an all-day markup in natural resources, so I wasn't able to meet with some of my constituents like Mike.
So explain that. What is a markup?
It's the votes in committee. So when we have a bill that we're going to vote on, in this case, it was in regards to the reconciliation bill. We have the debate with amendments, things like that. It's called a markup.
Oh, all right. So as always, I Google your name like 15 minutes before we start a show. That kind of helps me with what are we going to talk about today? Because as you know, I don't really prepare for these things probably as much as I should. I really should probably do more. So here's 3 things that I found this morning. So when I Googled your name, these are the first things that came up. One, this is from AOW. This is the headline for a story. Demonstrators show displeasure for Tom Tiffany. I like that. Displeasure. It's very kind of nice-ish way. Displeasure. The first paragraph reads, Congressman Tom Tiffany is facing some heat as dozens came out to Stewart Avenue in Wausau for a demonstration to show displeasure. They call it Tom Tiffany Take Two, as they held a demonstration last month and wanted to get the word out for their cause. Many of the demonstrators saying they're unhappy with Tom Tiffany claiming he doesn't have conversations with constituents. Yeah, what are your thoughts about that?
Oh, first of all, it's great that they come out and express their First Amendment rights. As they said, that's the second time they've done it. And they've come up to my office, which is on Stewart Avenue in Wausau. And my staff has them come in. We have a relatively small office, so they have them come in two at a time. They get to express their concerns, and those concerns get sent to me. And we're busy, including being out in DC doing stuff, so I can't always meet with people, but I'm glad that they had the opportunity to be able to do that.
Yeah, it's kind of weird though, right? I mean, a little bit. Weird as in, so I totally get it if it's, I could respect and appreciate if they are kind of picketing or they're protesting because of a policy issue or your stance on something, or maybe they want you to do more of something else. But I don't know, hang your hat on this. If this is the hill you want to die on, it's well, you need to do more town halls when we want you to. It's just a weird thing for me that's it. And also, it's almost like a glowing review for you. Hey, you're doing an amazing job. Just come and talk to us a little bit more. It's
Yeah,
so
yeah, for sure.
bizarre.
Well, we did a first. I mean, this was all set off when they said, when the left said, we got to get in these people's faces and at their town halls and stuff like that. Well, I had already
Yeah.
done 7 town halls. And so they were like, when are you going to do town halls? Well, I just did some at the end of January, when this all started in February and March. And we do town halls on a regular basis, and we'll continue to do them. They'll
All
get their
right.
opportunity.
The second thing that when I Googled your name this morning, this was from the MacGyver Institute. It's regarding changes to the nation's Medicare system. Their first paragraph was Northwood's Congressman Tom Tiffany took to Twitter on Wednesday and said the biggest change that the federal government or Wisconsin as a state can adopt is a work requirement. And they quoted you saying, able-bodied, working-aged, childless adults should not be allowed to sit on the couch and collect Medicaid benefits that you are paying for. They should be required to work with 80% of Wisconsinites' support.
Excuse me.
Gesundheit.
Um, yeah, thank you. So first of all, I think that says Medicaid, not Medicare,
Oh, I
right?
apologize. I think I read that. It does say Medicaid. I apologize if I said Medicare.
Yeah, well, and it's not hard to confuse it. Remember, Medicare is the program for retirees,
Correct.
senior citizens that they get their health care. And Medicaid is meant for those who are disabled, um, poor people, um, uh, single, pregnant women, those people that are really in need. It's not meant to be a permanent thing. It's meant to be where you help people up. Unless they're disabled, then we'd understand that they're going to need help throughout their life. So my message is real simple in regards to Medicaid, because the charge on the other side on the other charge side of the political front is that you guys are going to cut Medicaid. Well, we're not going to cut Medicaid. In fact, there's going to be more spending even on with what we have proposed. What we're saying, though, is that we should slow the rate of growth of spending because it is breaking the country. It's part of the reason that we're $36 trillion in debt. And so let's make sure that we are fulfilling the promise to those who who the program was created for. Once again, the disabled, pregnant women, those type of people. We should be protecting it for them. So you got California is going to spend $9 billion of money on Medicaid this year. So Medicaid is a state federal program. California is going to take $9 billion of federal money and they're going to use it for illegal aliens. You have the example that you just read off where people who are able-bodied, childless, and they choose not to work. They should be working because most of them would probably get their health care at their employer if they chose to work. And so you should not be living off from your fellow taxpayers' generosity when you're sitting on the couch and you could be working. So I think there should be work requirements. I don't think illegal aliens should be getting Medicaid at the taxpayers' expense. There's things that we can do to save and protect Medicaid, and that's what we should be doing.
I kind of get a feeling, though, that the other side of this would say this is cutting Medicaid.
They would say it's cutting when we're actually reducing the increase. Only in Washington, D.C. is a cut defined as reducing the increase. So let's say rather than it going up, because what is the increase? It's like, I would have to double check the number, but the increase in Medicaid has been like 50 or 60% over the last 5 or 6 years. I mean, it's significant how much additional spending has gone into Medicaid. We're just saying, let's reduce the growth in spending in Medicaid. We're not actually doing cuts to it.
Sorry, I just saw a comment from Brian Pejos. Targeted tariffs work, but expert economists agree that Trump's blanket tariffs will destroy America's economy. Why will you and your Republican colleagues not stand up and take control of tariffs back from the executive branch? Thank you for your question, Brian.
So, first of all, Brian, thanks for citing that targeted tariffs do work. As we speak, we're seeing news this morning that the United Kingdom, England, and us are probably going to strike an agreement here. There's 60 to 70 countries that are at the table, and there's active negotiations going on. Treasury Secretary Bassett appears to be the point person at this point, and they are working on agreements and striking agreements. Let's be real clear. We have been taken advantage of here in America. We've been the clearinghouse for other countries when they've been able to dump stuff into our country, selling goods at less than cost. China has stolen our intellectual property, being able to create stuff while not having had to pay for creating the patents and things like that. I mean, that saves them billions of dollars in some instances, and then they're able to sell it back to America cheap. They should have to pay for their intellectual property. Plus, they use slave labor. We should not be using cheap China labor just to be able to get the cheapest goods, because that's taking advantage of people like the Uyghurs who have been enslaved in Western China and getting their goods via sweatshops. I don't think that's an American value. So it's time that we have this reset. This has been going on for 25 or 30 years. China was going to become this democratic country that we could openly work with. That has not happened. President Xi is a totalitarian. So the experiment did not work. It's time we look out for America once again, because the result is we've had our main streets hollowed out, and it has caused us to be $36 trillion in debt. Time to look out for Main Street rather than Wall Street.
Hey, that's very nice. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
who came up with that? Was that your staff? Was it who came up with
Wall
that?
Street. No, I actually came up with that. Wall Street.
Yeah.
Wall Street has done very well, and I want them to continue to do well. But all you got to do is look around our neighborhoods, Ben. We see our main streets in the 7th Congressional District in northern Wisconsin. There's a significant number of them that have been hollowed out, and oftentimes because they've lost that local industry that they've had. Now, are we going to be able to bring it all back? No, we are not going to be able to bring it all back, but we should bring some of it back. We shouldn't be completely dependent for pharmaceuticals with China and other countries. That's important that we produce some of that stuff here.
I want to go back to, so Mike Schaefer put in, going back to Medicaid, please don't agree to any Medicaid changes that freeze funding at current limits. It penalizes states like Wisconsin that haven't abused the system and rewards those states that have. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so like any healthcare issue, these are always highly complex. I mean, I find it to be, and this is true back in the legislature, and we probably even talked about that back when I did the joint finance interviews with you. And it's just really complex. But Mike is correct. The states that are bad actors or take advantage of the system to get far more money than like Wisconsin, we should be clawing back some of that money from those states that are abusing it. I mean, take California.
Sure.
$9 billion for illegal immigrants. It's a line item in their budget. we shouldn't, as taxpayers in Wisconsin and around America, be subsidizing California in such a way.
That makes sense. We have a question from Nathan regarding the wolves, and I have a couple more things to get to. We'll do all of that in 15 seconds after a word from Spooner Health.
Compassion is at the center of everything we do. It's rooted in who we are and why we're here. It unites us as providers, neighbors, and as a community. Learn more at spoonerhealth.com.
All right, here's a question from Nathaniel. Any updates, Mr. Tiffany, on managing wolves? I know we talked about it last month. You had, I think it passed through your committee, I think at the time, wasn't it?
Yes, passed out of Natural Resources. It's
Yeah.
waiting for a vote in the full House of Representatives. Really nothing new to report other than I am pushing on leadership to get us a vote sooner rather than later to get it out of the House.
Okay, former Representative Angie Sapek asked, assuming this will pass, can you let everyone know what the timeline looks like for federally delisting timber wolves? Wait. All right. I don't know what timber wolves
Yeah,
are.
so-
I didn't know we had them here. I thought those were in Minnesota.
So if we pass, no, she's referring to the gray wolf, the timber wolf, whatever you
Oh,
want
okay.
to call them.
All right.
It's wolves. And Angie will correct me if I'm saying that wrong, but I think that's what she means. So if we can pass it out of the House, it goes to the Senate, and we are hoping that the Senate will get it done. The Majority Leader, John Thune, coming from South Dakota, understands the importance of managing wolves, and I'm hoping he will make it a priority. And maybe we can get it done yet this year, because if we get it done, then Wisconsin has the requirement that there be a wolf season. That is the law. So if we can get it done in time by, let's say like the end of October, then it would be a requirement that there be a wolf season in Wisconsin. So that's what we're hoping for. We'll see how it plays out in the legislative process.
Speaking of Wisconsin specifically, I've noticed a lot of Governor Tony Evers seems to be filing an awful lot of lawsuits against the Trump administration lately. We're looking at a certain comment. Have a joke. We can get to those comments in a second. Have you noticed, or is it just me, that seems like Governor Evers is filing a lot of lawsuits against Donald Trump for various reasons? What are your thoughts about those?
Yeah, there have been a number of lawsuits by both he and the Attorney General, Josh Call. I think he's got his hands full in Wisconsin, and I would say the governor should really pay attention to. We have declining educational achievement in Wisconsin. We have the largest racial disparity in the country in Milwaukee. He's supposed to be the education governor. He should be taking care of that. He's instructed state employees via the email a couple weeks ago that he put out that they should not cooperate with ICE if ICE has a warrant to remove an illegal alien. I don't think that's a smart thing to do. He's proposed doubling the price of fishing and hunting licenses here in Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's a good thing for sportsmen. We should be offering more opportunity, not less. And we don't need to be raising the price of hunting and fishing here in Wisconsin. Let's provide more opportunity. I think he's got his plate full, and I'd be paying attention to those things rather than worrying about Donald Trump wanting to remove illegal aliens, especially those that have committed heinous crimes.
Did you see, it was a couple weeks ago, the story that was out? I think Wisconsin right now is the first one that put that out regarding Sawyer County, a judge in Sawyer County, right in your 7th Congressional District, kind of echoing or kind of like, I feel like it was kind of like in support of Judge Dugan down in, I think that's Milwaukee area.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, did you see anything about that in Sawyer County? And if you did, what are your thoughts and views on that?
Yes, so that would have been Judge Isham in Sawyer County.
Yeah.
She, after Judge Dugan in Milwaukee County let the illegal alien who was coming before her for an assault charge, found out that ICE had a warrant to remove him from the country, she interceded and sent him out the back door of her courtroom, basically obstructing ICE from being able to issue their warrant and remove this person from the United States. And so Judge Dugan has certainly been in the news as a result of that. I believe that's pure and simple obstruction. The state Supreme Court came down and said, Judge Dugan, you should not have done that. So I think it's very clear that she obstructed ICE and obstructed the law in what she was doing. Judge Isham came out in support of what Judge Dugan did. And in fact, I believe Judge Isham said, I'm going to shut down my court to send a message that I'm in support of Judge Dugan and this should not be happening. Well, the legislature created that second court in Sawyer County because the county board said to us, one judge is not enough for us.
And
we need a second judge.
Yeah, and they do.
And the reason for it is that it violates the Constitution in having an expeditious trial, right? We all have a right to have an expeditious trial. So we created that second judgeship for that purpose. And now Judge Isham, is saying, I'm going to shut down my court. That's denying people their constitutional right to be able to have an expeditious trial. So I don't know why she did that, and I'm hoping she's walking back from that position.
We have a question here from Dan Erickson. Do you believe the Constitution requires due process for everyone in the U.S., citizen or not? It's interesting, Dan, you brought that up. Actually, Fitzy and I talked about this not on our weekly Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy show, not this Tuesday, but the Tuesday before, I think. We were discussing that. And because I had called a few judges and kind of asked them a similar question about that due process. And I'm sorry, I feel like I'm answering the question that was for you. Just giving you a little insight. What I learned, because I didn't know this, was that there is due process. So essentially, I think what Judge Isham was saying, that she doesn't want ICE ever coming into the courtroom. Like, you can't come in and take somebody out, and you can't be in the lobby, and et cetera. Because kind of a due process thing, except the difference between the due process between an illegal immigrant. So if this person is sitting in a courtroom but is not the one that's on trial or not the one that is a defendant in any way, shape, or form, but for however they figure this stuff out, that we know there is an illegal immigrant, that person we know is sitting in a courtroom, then we can come in and get that person. Their due process starts if they've committed a crime, which seems kind of weird, like you're a little bit, but that's my understanding of how it works. What is your understanding of it, Tom? And going back to the question, do you believe the Constitution requires due process for everyone in the U.S., citizen or not?
Well, let's unpack that because there's a lot there. So let's take the situation with Judge Dugan down in Milwaukee. ICE was out in a public place outside of the courtroom when they issued the warrant. They were not in her courtroom, is my understanding. It was out in a publicly available space. So that's one. Second of all, I believe that an illegal immigrant should get process in the United States, but due process is something that is unique to an American citizen in terms of all the rights we have. We cite the Constitution here, right? We were just talking about you have the right to an expeditious trial. You get that as a U.S. citizen. If you're someone who is a foreign national, that doesn't guarantee you that you get all of the due process rights that every American gets. Now, you get the right to you get the ability to have a hearing in regards to your immigration status and whether you have an asylum claim or whatever the case may be. You have the ability to have a hearing, but I don't put that in the same category as having the due process rights of every American. But isn't it interesting when you have 10 million people who came into this country illegally and they're like just waved in? We're not worried about looking at your citizenship or whether you should truly be here. Are you truly an asylee or any of those questions? None of that was asked when 10 million people came in over the last 4 years. But now all of a sudden, every single one of them has a due process right.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I mean, it's a double standard being used by some in regards to this because they had nothing to say when they were coming in illegally.
Hey, speaking of some 7th Congressional...
Hey, by the way, can I say one other thing?
Yeah.
You mentioned Sheriff Fitzgerald.
Oh, yeah, Fitzy, yeah. Oh, do you see that?
Congratulations on his retirement.
What? I know, 28 years in law enforcement, 17 as sheriff, but he had a job opportunity he couldn't pass up. So, yeah, congratulations to Fitzy.
Thanks for all the work you did, Sheriff Fitzgerald, helping people safe in Barron County. You said that, not I.
Whatever. I love that guy. Hey, I also want to bring up, because we're almost up against your time, you had the art competition was just finished, right?
Yes.
Every year that was done, and no kidding, I actually have a photo of it. When I saw the winner of it, I think it was a student from Wausau, I believe, and I think, and you can explain this again. I think it's hung in somewhere in DC. But when I saw this picture, I'm like, what? It looks like it's AI generated, or an adult couldn't even do this, much less a student. This is the photo. That's ridiculously awesome. I mean, the detail.
Aubrey Krantz is a senior at Wausau East High School, and she is the winner of the Congressional Art Competition. Every one of us congressional offices, we participate in the art competition, and each one of us gets our first place winner, which in this case is Aubrey. She gets to, or we will put it up in the tunnel between the House office buildings and the Capitol. There are thousands of people that walk through there every day, and Aubrey gets her picture there this year.
Wow. Seriously, that was so
Isn't
good.
that great?
And the second and third place people were also, those are just phenomenal.
Yeah,
My
very good
goodness.
pieces of work. I think there was a young person, I can't remember male or female, but there's a young person up at Maple Northwestern, finished in the top 4. I'm trying to remember, one in Greenwood in Clark County. So, yeah, they come from all over the district. We thank the people, and especially the teachers who work with their students to have them submit to this Congressional Art Competition. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Well, I know that we have a hard cutoff time at 9 o'clock. There's some other questions in here. Apologize, haven't been able to get to those. Ideally, remember, Tom comes on the second Thursday of every month at 8:30, from 8:30 to 9. So if you always want to make sure your question gets answered, please try to put those in a little bit sooner. What do you have coming up this weekend? I know right after this, or in a couple of minutes, you're going to be doing a vote regarding the Gulf of America. See if that gets passed. What's that?
Final votes of the week, and then I'm headed home, and we will be back out here next week. The big stuff going on is reconciliation. We're trying to get what some term the big beautiful bill. We're trying to put the final touches on it. I think there's gonna be a fair amount of work to be done on that yet. We got to get agreement between the Senate and the House, and so it's going to take some time to do it. But I think ultimately, I'm optimistic we're going to get it done.
All right. What are you doing this weekend? If I know you don't come home and just put your feet. Hey, okay. Here's actually okay. We have like another minute left. Let me ask. I was actually going to ask you at the very beginning of the show. I literally was going to, because somebody asked me why I like sports. Like, what do I do to actually just unplug when I'm not working? I said sports, I like competition. It's just whatever. I mean, I don't like soccer or NASCAR because those are stupid. But everything else, I don't care. I can watch anything. What do you do when you have an hour before bed? You've finished all your meetings and your dinners and etc. What do you do to unplug? Books? Are you a foodie? What?
So first of all, the views of the host of this show do not reflect on the guest. Just so everyone knows out there that are NASCAR fans and all the rest.
Oh.
My God, man, trying to get me in trouble here. So no, I like to get outside, especially this time of year. And I've been doing a lot of landscaping last summer and this summer. We're going to keep working on that. I'm trying to grow some prairie grasses that have really cool flowers. And I got a floral mix that flowers throughout the summer. And I'm hoping those will catch this year. I've got a nice place in the yard where hopefully that's going to work out. And, got other stuff going on. The weekends are short. The honey-do list is long.
Yeah. So I don't understand any of what you just said about whatever those flowers, something. But my wife loves that stuff. So when Jerusha watches the show tonight, when she gets home, she can explain to me what you just said.
So there's clone flowers and things like that, but they'll bloom throughout or flower throughout the summer. So you always got flowers that are blooming in the backyard. And yeah, Jerusha will understand.
Yeah, she will. All right, thank you so much.
She understands. Jerusha clearly understands very complex things. I mean, it's obvious.
Awesome. Special thank you to Wisconsin's 7th Congressional District Representative Tom Tiffany for taking time to come on for a chat with us today. Thank you for all of your comments and your questions. So for DrydenWire.com, I'm Ben Dryden saying thank you for watching, and as always, have a blessed day.